says to me, "Good morning, Miss Griffin." Knew my name. "My name is Lewis, and I'm going to be your in-room waiter this morning." Whoa, I said to myself, the unanticipated has just arrived. So he comes in, puts down my tray, and he says, "Miss Griffin, the first thing I'd like for us to do this morning is to go through your order and make sure everything is in place." Go through the order, everything's there. Then he says, "Miss Griffin, can I pour you your first cup of coffee this morning?" You better believe you can. He pours my first cup of coffee, cream, sugar, the whole bit. And then he says, "Now, Miss Griffin, when you're ready to have this tray removed, give us a call on this number on the little tent card. We'll come right off. We'll come right up, take care of it." Lewis is out the door, and what I realized was never once did he remark about this beautiful ruby red apple that was perched up on the linen napkin on my plate. And those of you that travel a lot know that you just can die for a piece of fruit sometimes on the road. So, here we go with building or delivering the unanticipated. Look what the La Meridian did. They took all the elements that any room service operation has, but they took it and they delivered it in a very, very good way by delivering the unanticipated.
If you're like most clients, you want your keynote or seminar to inspire, challenge, motivate, and entertain. Internationally recognized customer loyalty expert Jill Griffin delivers just that. Jill serves on the board of directors for Luby's Corporation, a New York Stock Exchange company with 150 restaurant locations across the Southwest. She is the author of the business bestseller Customer Loyalty, How to Earn It, How to Keep It, now in second edition. Customer Loyalty has been published in 6 languages and has earned a place on Harvard Business School's prestigious Working Knowledge list of recommended books. Jill is co-author of the groundbreaking book Customer Winback, How to Recapture Lost Customers and Keep Them Loyal, named one of the 30 best business books of 2002 by Soundview Executive Book Summaries. Her 2 books serve as textbooks for the MBA and undergraduate courses on customer management taught at the University of Texas McCombs School of Business. Proven how-tos wrapped around real-world heartfelt stories and case studies are what makes Jill's books bestsellers. She brings that same high content and entertainment to her custom-designed presentations. Audiences consistently describe Jill as the high-energy, fun-loving, thought-provoking keynoter. Dell, Days Inn, IBM, Advanced Micro Devices, Hewlett-Packard, Subway, Western Union, Wells Fargo, Marriott Hotels, and the American Public Power Association are just a few of the organizations that consistently bring Jill's results-driven presentations to their groups. And now let's join customer loyalty expert Jill Griffin as she shares her proven strategies.
As a customer loyalty expert, my job is to inspire, challenge, and educate audiences to make loyalty happen. Now, how do I do this? By digging deep to truly understand your organization's objectives, your challenges, and your marketplace. Weeks in advance, I conduct in-depth interviews with stakeholders. I review research reports, industry publications, competitor news. I may even do a mystery shop or talk directly to some of your customers. Then, with this knowledge in hand, I go to work to craft a one-of-a-kind, customized presentation, brimming with stories, examples, and how-tos chosen specifically for your audience. So whether you need customer experience strategies, branding, selling strategies, customer service, or some combination, my job as speaker is to leave your audience with proven tools and techniques they can start to use immediately to build fiercely loyal customers.
Employees do things for their reasons and not ours. Consider this story. There is a chain of discount department store in the States called Kmart. It's kind of similar to your Asda here in the UK. And Kmart has had lots of profitability problems through the years. And they've done lots of cost cutting. And one of these cost cuttings really affected and brought on a lot of employee cuts. There were less employees on the floor to service customers, and customers noticed. Well, Kmart management noticed too. So they put together a policy called the 10-foot rule. Now, what the 10-foot rule meant was that anytime an employee was within 10 feet of a customer, that Kmart employee was supposed to go up to the customer, acknowledge him or her, and offer to help. And Kmart, to make employees aware even more of the 10-foot rule, they painted a big rectangle at the back of the store on the floor so employees could practice and really get into their minds what 10 feet look like. Well, guess what? I already see some heads nodding in the audience. Unfortunately, these employees, when they got to see what 10 feet looked like, they made sure they stayed 11 feet or further away from the customer. In fact, it's rumored that that's where Michael Jackson's moonwalk first got started. But the point of the story and the point of the example is this. We have got to get into the minds and the hearts of our employees. We can do all this wonderful planning, we can do all this great communication, but if we're not getting into the minds and the hearts of our staff on their terms, we're not going to get there. I served on the marketing faculty at the University of Texas McCombs School of Business for several years. The university served as a wonderful laboratory in which I got to experiment with a host of presentation techniques. Now picture this. 200 young adults with incredibly short attention spans cloistered in an auditorium-style lecture hall for 60 minutes 3 times a week. Believe me, as a presenter, you find out real quick if your message is getting through or not. Now, one of the most useful teaching techniques that I developed back then and use with real success today is to take a customer loyalty principle, demonstrate the business application, and then anchor the concept even deeper by showing audience members how it can apply in their personal lives. Here's an example. 7 years ago, I changed my life forever. I got married for the very first time. Now, you can look up here and see, this is no spring chicken here, okay? So it took me a lot of years to find the right guy. And let me tell you, I have found him. I found myself what I call a low-maintenance husband. Yes. All right. This guy is so great for me, he doesn't even care that I don't cook. In fact, I overheard him tell a friend of his recently when I was out of the room that if he ever wanted to hide anything from me, he would hide it in the oven because I never open it. All right? That's okay. We get along extremely well. And having been single as many years as I was single, I really appreciate having a guy that I really love a lot and is just so good to me, and we're so good together. We both travel a lot, and it's very much on my mind that when we are together, I want to make those times as good as they can be. Well, a year ago, November, we were both home on a Friday afternoon, having both traveled the entire week in different places. And we're doing this thing that many of you can identify with, too, and that is standing in front of the dining room table sorting the mail that's piled up the entire week. And we're standing there sorting the mail and putting his pile here and my pile here. And during that time, we're talking, well, tell me about your week. How did that meeting go? Did you get to see our friend while you were out there? That sort of thing. Having a great time just catching up. And then suddenly I realize I don't have him anymore. I don't have his attention. I look over and I see that he is tearing into this envelope that says AutoZone. Now, what you need to know about my husband is he is what we call a classic car enthusiast. He subscribes to every magazine known to man in regard to classic cars. And sure enough, he had ordered a calendar, a classic car calendar, one of those things that has a big picture of a car on one panel and the month of the year on another. So he's pulling out of this envelope, and here's this calendar. And let me tell you, he's a goner. He's a goner. Now, my first reaction is to want to pull that calendar out of his hand and go, honey, talk to me. But I thought, no, value delivery. How can I use these 3 levels of value to turn this situation around? So I said to him, honey, bring that calendar over to the sofa. And I want you to sit down with me, and I want you to tell me about those cars. Ladies and gentlemen, you should have seen the look of ecstasy that starts to appear on my husband's face as he is literally clutching this calendar and sprinting over to the sofa to sit down to talk about those cars. We went through that calendar, all 12 of those pictures, one by one. And I made sure I asked all the right questions. I made sure I ooh-nod in all the right places. What makes that valuable? How did that model change from one year to the next? And I got to tell you, after about 11 minutes, this old girl had put some big points on the loyalty scoreboard. Now, think about it. I was operating in the realm of unanticipated. How do you bring value to a relationship? How do you bring value to a marriage? Let's think about it. Don't abuse charge cards. Be nice to his mother. Remember him on his birthday. Remember him at Christmas. But think about it. All of those things are basic and expected. It's the little things. It's when you know someone well enough that you know how to delight them in an unanticipated way. That's where the value delivery happens. Now, if you recall, I said to you that this happened a year ago, November. This past November, that calendar came back in the mail. What do you think happened? He came and got me. And he wanted to sit down and go through that calendar again. We did it. Do you think it had the same effect this time as it had the first time? No. Because what was unanticipated had now moved into the realm of expected. And that's what it's about with our customers as well. And that's why monitoring value definition, knowing how our customers define value, knowing how they define basic, what they define as expected, what they define as unanticipated, and then delivering on those terms, that's how we win customer loyalty.